Hello, everyone, and good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Whether you're joining us live or on demand, welcome back to Mobile App Academy. This is the show where we show you how to build and configure mobile apps live on the Now platform. And today, I think we really have a great one for you. My name is Charlie Steiner. Welcome back, Product Marketing Manager here at ServiceNow with the mobile team. And today, we'll be walking you through configuring action functions on the ServiceNow or with the ServiceNow mobile apps. Excuse me. And wow, looking at the chat, it's really great to see quite a lot of you who have been with us from the beginning. And once again, we appreciate you coming back week after week and really being with us through this series, and quite a lot of new names as well. It's always really exciting to see, and welcome aboard, and we hope you enjoy. If you're brand new to the Mobile App Academy or watching this on YouTube on demand, we host these sessions every 2 weeks here on Zoom at 10 a.m. Pacific. And you can find that in our mobile community. We'll be posting the recording and 2 weeks from now's topic. And if you're brand new to the ServiceNow mobile apps or the mobile family, definitely let us know in the chat. You know, we love getting insight from you, what you're learning, what you're interested in, what you'd like to learn next from us, because that's definitely how we get our ideas and our inspiration for future app academies. So with all that said, I'd like to introduce David Haas, Senior Product Marketing Manager on the outbound, Senior Product Manager in the outbound product management team on the mobile team. So David, take it away.
Thanks for the intro, Charlie. Good morning, everyone, and welcome back to our Mobile App Academy. My name is David Ha, and I'm an outbound product manager here at ServiceNow. I also have Fu Ho here with me, who's a solution architect on the mobile team here at ServiceNow as well. And we want to give a warm welcome to everyone joining us live today. Let me share my screen real quick just so I can show you the agenda for today. Okay, so I think you should be able to see my screen now. And so based on some of the common themes of questions that we are seeing on mobile community, this week we will be walking you through ServiceNow's actions, action locations, as well as extending Now Mobile out of the box workflows. And we're going to build a couple of custom workflows today, including announcements as well as the employee directory landing page. And for today's topic, we will be doing a live building session. And we will be leveraging the Now mobile app and extending additional custom workflows on it. And within this custom workflow, we'll actually be doing the following. So starting with the Now mobile app, we'll start with the out-of-the-box experience that's readily available to use upon plugin installation. And then we're going to focus on the general employee or the requester use case for today. And then to improve this out-of-the-box experience, we're going to build out a couple new landing pages. So first, we're going to build out an employee directory workflow so I can quickly look up information on my manager and my coworkers and how I can quickly email or make phone calls to them. And then second, we'll actually use a bunch of media sections to create an announcement page. So if you want to consolidate all your news posts and have them link out to URLs, let's say that you want them to open up announcements from your organization. So this is especially useful if you want to communicate those workplace articles, any type of news or announcements. And so that's a couple of custom things that we'll be configuring today. And then we'll also talk about all the different ways you can associate actions through these two custom workflows, as well as the best practices when creating these custom experiences for employees. Okay. And if you are new to mobile, we do recommend that you check out our resources on mobile community. So if I switch my screen real quick. So here on mobile community, you can actually find quick links to our mobile implementation guide, all of our past Mobile App Academy recordings, and all these things go over mobile hierarchy as well as other Now mobile implementations. There's also a mobile hierarchy deck as well. And really understanding the hierarchy of our mobile apps is essential in learning how you can customize and deploy your own custom workflows. So highly recommend checking those out if you are new to mobile. And also a reminder, our mobile app academies will take place on an Orlando instance, although some of the features that we configure are also supported on New York instances. However, the configurations might look different or be different. And with that said, today's session will last about an hour. Please feel free to ask us questions at any point in time. We'll take breaks to answer questions, and then we'll also use the remaining time at the end to go over any open-ended questions. And yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to send them over on the QA section of Zoom. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive straight into it. So One second, I need to display my mobile app real quick so I can show you my out of the box now mobile app. Okay, sorry about that. You should now be able to see my phone. Okay, so to get started today, we're actually going to enable some of the following. First, you're going to want to make sure that you already have installed the Now Mobile app from your device's app store. So in our previous app academies, we showed you how to do things like configure some of the pre-built mobile experiences, like my requests, my services, KB articles on information tab. We also did things like how to add requests, add fields to applets, or even adding new catalog items. And also walk through some of the flows and use cases of what's available immediately upon enablement. And we've uploaded these past academies on the ServiceNow community channel on YouTube. So if you haven't already, if you look up YouTube and just look up Mobile App Academy, we do have this, I think, 14 or 15 video playlist. And it should be one of the first links up here. So, definitely recommend if you're new to mobile, check out these videos. And some of the first 3 videos are us going through common use cases on how to configure the Now mobile app. Okay. And then going back on our instance, to get your environment set up, you're going to want to make sure your instance is upgraded to Orlando. My instance is already on the latest Orlando patch 4. And once you're upgraded, you're going to want to manually install the Now Mobile plugin. So it's a single plugin, which you can find on product docs or refer to our earlier mobile app academies. If you take a look at my instance, I'll show you the plugin name real quick. This is just a quick refresher in case you aren't familiar with Now Mobile. But once we give this a second to load, if I do look up mobile-employee, it'll be the second plugin here, ServiceNow Now, app screens and app launchers. And you can see that this is already installed. So now that I have this plugin installed, I'm pretty much ready to go and ready to use the Now Mobile app. Okay. So jumping into our Now Mobile app, you should see the out-of-the-box experiences that you get with it, which contains the For Me tab, Services tab, information, notifications, and so forth. And if you'd like to review some of those old tabs and common things you can do to customize, again, check out those few app academies we have on YouTube, as well as the mobile community site. But for today, we're going to focus on 2 new app launchers. First, we're going to build out an employee directory landing page that shows me my team, my profile, as well as my groups. And then the second landing page we're going to build is an announcements landing page. And to do these, we're going to start with the employee directory workflow. And this employee directory will show me my managers, my coworkers. I'll give you a quick demo and preview of it real quick. You should be able to see my manager, my group members. If I tap into my manager, I can see additional information on her. And I'll even add smart buttons so that I can make quick taps, so I can either call her or send an email all through a push of a tap. So, and then at the top right of this app launcher, you can see that I can see my own profile. And within this profile, there's some common things that you want to do, like possibly change your password or being able to update your phone. So if I wanted to update my phone, and I'd be able to do that really quickly and submit, and instantly you're able to change information off the sys user table. I do have a service catalog item that allows me to do a password reset. So if I look up password reset on my services, I'm able to request a password reset here. And this is available out of the box. However, if you want your users to also be able to access it on this custom landing page, I'll show you how to build that from scratch. So then when I go to my profile and go to the top menu actions, I'll also be able to do password reset here. And it's going to say that this is reset for my logged in user. I can say what application I want to reset the password for and how I want them to contact me. Okay, so let's go ahead and start building that now. Starting with this employee directory workflow. So let's make sure my laptop's getting charged so that it doesn't die. And then let's get started. So if you are familiar and you've been following our App Academy series, we've mostly been using Platform UI. And the reason for using Platform UI is because the Now platform was built, the Now mobile app was built on multiple plugins across various views, right? ITAM, ITSM, HR, CSM, so forth. And Mobile Studio, it's typically it's a tool that allows you to easily modify existing workflows that we provide out of the box. However, when we released the Now mobile app, you weren't able to configure your Now mobile app using Mobile Studio just because it's built on so many different plugins. When you're using the ServiceNow agent app, each BU workflow, whether it's ITSM agent instance or field service mobile, each one of those was built on a single plugin. And so it was much more manageable, and you were able to customize existing workflows using Mobile Studio. So that was a limitation for Now Mobile, not being able to use Mobile Studio going into New York, Orlando, and Paris. However, we are working on it. Our product team's working on it and improving that experience. And we, sometime in the future, on an incoming release, you will be able to customize existing out-of-the-box workflows using Mobile Studio. But another thing that you should know is that anytime you create new landing pages or new Applet launchers, you can actually start using Mobile Studio. It'll actually save you a lot of time. So I'm actually going to use Mobile Studio today, and you're going to see how I'm going to be able to do that. So we're going to launch Studio real quick, and I'm going to create a new scope. And this new scope will allow me to create net new components onto my Now mobile app, right? So let's give this a name real quick. We'll call this live webinar, September. I'll give it a role. We'll select the mobile experience. And then I'll just fill in the instance table. Okay, so we're just going through the typical guided app creator steps. And it'll quickly launch me a new landing page or a new scoped application with all these different components, right? And all these components that get created, these get applied only to ServiceNow agent. So that's currently a limitation for a guided app creator. All these things that have been created for me on the ServiceNow agent is not, it's not applicable to today's session. I'm actually going to ignore these, and I can even delete these if I want, because really I'm creating a new component for the Now mobile app, not the ServiceNow agent app. So to get started, I'm going to create a new landing page, a new Applet launcher. And I'm going to name this Applet launcher. We'll call this my team, or we'll even just call it team. We'll give this a title for the homepage. So we'll call it my team. And then we'll save. Okay. And then I'm going to associate this Applet launcher, this team. I need to point it to the Now mobile app. Otherwise, it won't show up as a tab on my client. So I'm going to open up the Now mobile client on Studio, and we're going to create a new tab. And on this navigation tab, right? Navigation tabs are these right here. I'm going to select the Applet launcher that I just created, which is team. Or actually need to create a new record for navigation tab. And here you're going to specify whether you want an Applet launcher, an applet, and these aren't relevant. We're going to create an Applet launcher. The label for this will just be team. Team is my Applet launcher. I think it's pulling the title, I believe. Yes, it's pulling the title, so that's something that's good to know. And then icon, I can just give it home. When you are selecting icons, I'm using out-of-the-box icons that were used from other plugins. You're going to want to make sure that the type is not an image, because image type icons are not supported. And I did go through a past academy where I explain the different types of icons that are supported. But I'm going to need to choose a different icon. We'll just use the for me. Oh, Let's use this one. Okay. And then we'll go and save. All right, to get this app launcher to show up, I'll have to log out and log back in. But currently, this app launcher doesn't have anything yet. So the first thing I'm actually going to build out is I want to be able to build out this first applet that shows me my manager. Okay, so with any applet that you create, we're going to launch this new record for applets. And then I'm going to name this my manager. I can give it an icon and color. And then we'll select the employee directory applet template. And then we'll click create new. And then with every applet, it requires a data item. So we'll create a new data item. And we'll call this my manager data item. This is going to pull from the sys user table. We'll save. And then in my query conditions, I want to say that my manager is dynamically new. So my logged in user, it's going to pull the manager that's from the logged in user. Okay, so now we'll go and save. Going back to my applet, I'll select the data item that I just created. And now I'll just fill in some fields. So I want to bring over avatar, as well as name. We can bring over title. And what am I missing here? Name, title. We'll just put department. Okay. And then on the profile screen, which is basically like the form screen on a list, we'll replicate. If I want any additional fields in the body, which I do, because I also want to be able to make phone calls or send emails. So let's bring over location, mobile phone, as well as email. And then we'll save. Okay, so now I have an applet for my manager. Now I just have to associate it to the landing page or the app launcher that I just created. So we're going to open up this app launcher for my team again, and we're going to create a new UI section. Right now, this is completely blank. Remember, UI sections are used to associate your applets, and you can use icons or items. I want to be able to quickly see the avatar as well as the details of the record. So we'll select item. And then for the section name, we'll call it my manager. We'll select the employee directory applet that we just created. And we're going to have this panel vertically so that it goes down. And then we'll save. But I'm only going to have one manager, so it doesn't really matter. So we'll go ahead and save this. Now, if I log out and log back in into my app, I should see my manager app. Okay. I'll log in with my credentials. And then on the More tab, I should be able to see my landing page. But as you can see, you don't currently see my app launcher. So let's troubleshoot this. Why is my app launcher not showing up? So let's open up the Now Mobile app again, the Now Mobile client. And then we're going to look for my team app launcher. And it looks like I didn't create a tab yet for my team app launcher, or I guess I didn't. So let's go ahead and create a new tab. Although I thought I did, but let's go ahead and do that again real fast. So navigation tab, we're going to create a new record. Oh, I have it here. Maybe I just didn't submit. We'll go ahead and submit. And then I should be able to see team. Yep. And it's going to be right here. Yes. Okay. So now, if I log back in and log out, I should be able to see that app launcher. which I don't. Save. So I've created an app launcher for my team. I have a UI section for my manager, and I've associated it to the Now Mobile client, which should show up here. Let's double check to make sure it's active, which I can't tell from here. So we're going to check platform UI real fast and see what's going on. So I'm just walking through the steps on how I would troubleshoot this. So if I open up app launchers, or actually when I open up navigation tab or navigation bar, clicking into the Now Mobile client, I see that my team is associated. And here it is. So if I open up my team, I see that active is set to false. So I'm going to want to actually turn this to active. And it looks like this isn't actually the right screen. So we're going to do this one more time to make sure I don't skip any steps. So we're going to create a new navigation tab on Now Mobile. No more shortcuts. So we're going to create a new tab. We're going to create a new navigation tab. We're going to call, it's going to be an Applet launcher. We'll call this my team. The app launcher is team. My team. We'll make sure this is the right one from live webinar set. Yep. We'll give it an icon, and then we'll submit. And here you can now see there's 2 records. I don't want both records, so let's just delete one of these. And then just to confirm that this is active, we're going to check the platform UI again and see set to false by default. So if I look at this record, oops. Open record. My team. So it is set to active. Okay, so now if I do a log out and log back in, I should be able to see this. So if I log in with my credentials, and here we go. I can now see my app launcher for my team. If I click into Nicole, I can see additional information on it. Alrighty. The second part that I want to create is I want to create a new applet for my group members. So I can also see additional information and also be able to work and communicate them really quickly if I just log in through my Now Mobile app. So to do this, I need to create a second applet. We're going to create another employee directory applet. And we'll call this my group members. We'll give it an icon and color. We'll create a new data item for this. It's going to pull from the sys user table. User, sys user, here it is. Whoops. Sys user. Sys user. There it is. Okay. We'll call this my group members data item. And then we'll save. And then I'm just going to do a really simple query. There are definitely different ways you can query your team members or group members. I'm just going to simply hard code this and say that I want to see my group members that are in San Francisco. And then we'll go ahead and click save. Of course, there's different ways that you can make this dynamic and various ways that you can script this. Feel free to ask this also on mobile community, and that's possibly another session that we can cover as well. So we're just going to show my group members that are located in SF. And then we'll select the data item that we just created, which is my group members data item. We'll bring over the same fields, which is avatar, name, title, and department. On the profile screen, we'll replicate from primary. On the body, we'll also bring over location, phone, as well as email. And then we'll save. Okay. So now I've finished creating my group members applet. Now I just have to associate it to this landing page, right? So I have a landing page for my team. We'll create a new UI section. I also want this to be an item section. And we'll call this my group members in San Francisco. And now select my group members. And then we'll pan this vertically as well and save. So now if I refresh my team's app launcher, I should see my group members. Okay, so this is a really quick way. I just want to show how I can create a custom app launcher. And for this use case, I'm able to show my team. And if I want to be able to quickly email or make a phone call to different team members, I'd be able to do that using smart buttons. So smart buttons is one of the functions that's available on the platform, right? You have action functions, which allows you to update records or create new records on a table or delete. You have smart buttons, which are native buttons that allows you to, it takes advantage of the native capabilities of your device. You can navigate to a location, taking the GPS coordinates of that record. You can quickly email someone, make a phone call, or even navigate to another URL, all with the tap of a button. Just to show you one example, we're going to create a smart button for, let's do phone. And this will allow me to make a phone call to employees. Okay. The context is going to be record because you do want the record from the phone number from each user. The table is going to be from sys user. And then the field from this table that it's pointing to is the mobile phone. So we'll look up mobile phone. And then if you want like a default text message, you can set that. We'll say, let's give it a default message of hi. Okay, and then we'll click save. So now that I've created this smart button, now I just have to associate it to this field on my group members applet, right? So this is my group members employee directory applet. And this is the form screen. So let's open that up now. We'll open up my group members. This is the list screen, and this is the form screen. And it lives on the body. And once you click on body, you'll see this function for fields. So this is where you can put it. The field is going to be, these fields here, the ones that show up are going to be the fields that you pull into your body. So we want to put the smart button on the mobile phone, and we're going to select the make a phone call to employees function, and we'll save. So now if I save on Mobile Studio and I refresh my mobile app, I should now be able to make a phone call to Beth. And I can either call or send a text message. Okay, so that's a quick example of smart buttons. Again, this is a very common use case, and there's a lot of labs available on the mobile community site. Okay, so the next thing I want to show is I actually want to create a profile function at the very top here. And this is going to be, this is going to show my profile, and I'm going to be able to do things like make a password change or update the phone number for my user. So to do this, this is actually you're not able to do this inside of Mobile Studio. So we're actually gonna have to do this on Platform UI. And the reason why you can't do this on Studio is if you open up the app launcher, you would expect that there is some sort of function that says header or top. But all you see is quick actions and UI sections in header. But I can't associate a function here. But if I navigate to Platform UI and I look up App Launcher, and I open up the App Launcher for my team. And then I click into the header, you're going to see a field that doesn't exist in Mobile Studio, which is header function. So let's switch into the scope. And first, to get this to work, we're going to have to first create a profile applet that takes me to my profile. And then I have to create a navigation that allows me to navigate there. So we're actually going to do that inside of Studio real fast, just because it's much quicker, right? So let's create a profile applet real fast. So employee directory, we'll call this my profile. So if you create an employee directory applet, it shows you a list screen before it takes you to the details. So that's one additional step that I don't want to do. And I actually just want to show this form screen so that when I tap on that navigate to profile, it takes me directly here. So how would I be able to do that? I can actually use a parameterized form screen. So that's a new screen template that came with New York. And let me show you how to configure that now. So we're going to create my profile, but this is going to be a form screen. I can give it an icon and color if I want, and we'll click Save. So we're going to create a new data item for this form screen. It's also going to pull from this user table. Okay. We'll call this my profile. And we'll save. So a form screen always requires a parameter because it doesn't really know where to navigate to. It needs context to a record of some sort. So that's why we're actually going to we're going to make this parameterized. And we're going to use a parameter for autofill that autofills the sys ID of the current logged in user. And that way it always knows that, I'm logged in as David. And so it will always pass the sys ID of David to this form screen. And that's how it's going to know how to navigate here. So we're going to create a new parameter for sys ID. It's going to be string. And then we'll save this data. Going back to my form screen, we'll select the data item that we just created. We're going to change this pattern so that it mimics the employee directory. If I scroll down, actually there's a template for employees. And then we'll also bring over avatar, name, title, and department. Okay, and then we'll save. Once I save, you should be able to see the parameter settings. So here, I'm actually going to want to create an autofill UI parameter. So let's create an autofill UI parameter. That way, you're not manually typing in the sys ID of the user. It's going to autofill that sys ID for you. So you look at input types. There are different autofill parameters that you can use. You can use GPS location, date, user. So let's select user, and we're going to call this the user sys ID. And then we're going to map the item parameter from my data item to this autofill parameter that I just created. So that's going to be sys ID mapping to the parameter that I just created. User sys ID. Okay. So now if I save, this applet should work. I just have to associate it back to my now mobile client. but there's no way to navigate to it yet. So I have to create a navigation function to be able to get there, right? If I want to be able to put it at this top right here, I have to create a navigation. So let's create a navigation. And we're going to call this navigate to my profile. This is going to be a global navigation. And the reason for that is because it's sitting on an Applet launcher, right? It's very similar to quick actions. And that's why it requires global context. And the destination type is an applet, and the applet is my profile. I'll click save. And now I just have to associate this navigation to this Applet launcher at the top right. To do that, this is the part where I have to leave Studio to go back to the platform UI for the header function. So I'm going to open up my team Applet launcher on platform UI, click into the header, and there is a header function here. We're going to create a new record. And we're going to call this navigate to my profile. The parent table is, it's going to be Applet launcher. That's where this function sits. And the parent is, it's going to be the name of your Applet launcher. So we're going to look up my team. And again, the name is actually the title, right? It's going to be the title of your Applet launcher. And then we'll click OK. The function is the navigation function that I just created. So navigate to my profile. The label doesn't matter because you won't be able to see it, but we'll also copy and paste that here. The location is going to be top. Top applies to the top of the Applet launcher. And then we'll submit. Now, if I save and I go back to my team, if I refresh. So you're probably wondering why the function didn't show up. Okay, so I actually missed a detrimental step. So if I go back to Mobile Studio and I look at my navigation, this is the first thing that I would want to troubleshoot. Did I map my parameters correctly? So first, I would double check on my applet that all my parameters look good. I have my autofill parameter, and it's mapped. The item parameter and the UI parameters mapped here. So the only other place to check is my navigation. If I open up my navigation, it's global context. It's navigating to my profile. So it's possible that I selected the wrong applet. So let's double check this real fast, the header function, and open this record. Okay, so the applet launcher, my team, is this the correct applet launcher? Live webinar September, yep, that looks good. The function navigate to my profile, is this the one that I created? This also looks good. Location is top, which is correct. Oops. Oh, I didn't give it an icon. So this is a font which should work. And if I click save, let's see if the icon is required. No, okay. Let's see, function, navigation, global, looks right. Parent table, going back to Studio, let's double check my parameters again. Let's close all this just to clear up my space. So if I look at my form screen, which I called my profile, let's double check the data item as well. Profile data item. And here we go. So it looks like I created a item parameter for sysid, but I never mapped it back to the table, right? Using this reference value icon. So we're going to select sysid and map it to this item parameter. Now if I click save and I refresh, okay, so item parameters mapped. We'll double check my applet. I have my autofill parameter, which is user, and it is mapped. Just saved. And then if I check platform UI, open up Apple launchers for my team. Double check the header function. That looks right. Navigation function. Global. That looks right. Top. Huh. Let's see. Top. Header. Let me double check if I change that location real fast. This shouldn't work. And then change back to top. Okay. Fu, any ideas where I could possibly miss the step? Data item, sysid.
Yeah, I think we have I think someone from the audience said that you keep going to the wrong Applet launcher.
Oh, did I? That's possible too. Okay. So if I double check my Apple launcher. So let's reset this. So Apple launcher. There was two my teams, so maybe I selected the wrong one. Is it this one? Let's double check. No, this is from ITSM Mobile Agent, so it has to be this one. So that's the correct app launcher. The function is simple. It's just a global function, and it should navigate to my profile. Did I take it to the right applet? My profile. That looks right. Actually, destination screen. Is that what I called it on Studio? My profile. Data item, yeah.
So the problem is that you're not able to see the icon at all in the header.
Yeah. Let's double check the one that I created a little earlier. So I called it open profile. So let's see if there's any differences. If I switch into the scope that I created earlier, let's just double check for any differences. So I created an open profile, employee directory. I mapped the parameters, autofill, that looks right. I created a navigation, global navigation, which takes you to open profile, and is also global. And then if you check platform UI for Apple Launcher.
Oh, you know what looks strange? On your Studio, you had to pass in a parameterized. If you look at your navigation function, the one you created, go down to navigation function. Yeah, switch back to your original one. You notice how this one right here, you have no, it's global, right? And it doesn't ask you for any variables because you have a parameterized applet as autofill. So I thought I saw something where you had a navigation where you had to provide a sysid. So let's double check your
Oh,
scope
the
again.
parameters. So anytime it's global, you don't need to pass parameters, right?
Right, right. I thought your navigation you had something that had.
Did it? Let's double check.
Let's double check.
So I open up my navigations.
Oh, okay, never mind.
Yeah.
So you're going to an applet.
Yeah, it is top. Launcher button. Okay. Just to save time, this should work. I'm not sure why, but I'm going to reuse the function that I created earlier. Now that should probably fix the issue. So, app launcher, going into my team. Huh. Wait, so the audience said that I opened the wrong app launcher.
Mm-hmm.
I just clicked open my app launcher and there's a missing header function. So I think I was open. Yeah, I think they might have been right. So it looks like I was applying this to the wrong app launcher. So the title of my team, that's this one that we're configuring and is blank. So that's part of the reason why it's not showing up. So let's create a new record and double check. So we're going to create a new header function again. And this is going to navigate to my profile header. Again, the parent table is going to be app launcher. And the parent is going to be the name of your app launcher, or the title, which is my team. Okay. The function is navigate to my profile. The labels doesn't matter, but I'll copy and paste. Location is going to be top, and then we'll click submit. Now, if I save this, hopefully it shows up this time. The only thing I'm missing is an icon. So I think an icon is required. If it leaves it blank, there's really nothing to click on. They should have made this a required field, but let's put user icon here and refresh. So there it is. So now that I have an icon, it takes me to my profile. Okay. It says no items available right now because I didn't bring over any fields for that form applet. So let's actually bring over some fields right now real quick. So we'll open up my profile form screen, go into the body, and we're going to bring over location, as well as email and phone number. Okay, so we'll save. Now if I refresh and navigate back to my profile, I'll now see some additional fields. Not sure why it doesn't show location. Oh, so this user doesn't have the location field filled in, so that's the reason why it's showing blank. So the next thing I actually want to do is, I already have a service catalog item that allows me to change my password, right? So if I go to the out of the box for me tab and I use the global search and look up password reset, there's already a catalog item that's created on the mobile employee service center, right? So I want to reuse this URL. And when you tap into it, right, it takes you to the MESP. So how would I go about doing that? So the first thing I would do is I would go to Platform UI. And on my left-hand nav, I'm going to look up Service Portal. And I'm going to launch the Service Portal home. Okay. And then I'm going to look up password reset. So this is the same password reset that you'll see here. And when you open up this record, it's going to contain a sys ID. So I'm going to use this URL format so that it takes me back into the MESP on Now Mobile. So let's first save this sys ID here. And then we're going to use this MESP link. All right, so we're just going to do this. And it's going to open up the service catalog inside of MESP. But what's the sys ID of that URL? So we're going to copy and paste this sys ID here. And this is going to be my new URL that I want to point to. And this will take you to a mobile view of this catalog item. So you might be wondering, why can't I just take the service catalog view? And the reason for that is, out of the box, the Now Mobile team built a new table called the Mobile Employee Service Portal, right? And you can access it here when you look up Now Mobile, right? If you looked at our earlier mobile app academies, when we create catalogs, it's as simple as just creating new catalogs on this table that they provided you. Or if you wanted to add a new request, you would just open up this custom table, create a new record here, and it'll automatically populate inside of this MESP table. So to get the same similar experience so that it looks good inside of mobile, you're going to want to use this URL template, MESP, and so forth. Had I just taken the full URL, it will just open up a web view, and it's gonna be a lot of pinching and zooming, and it just doesn't look good. So this is the relative URL that we're gonna use, and to be able to, so what we're trying to do is, just to give you a quick demo, when I go into my profile, in the top right, I'm able to launch password reset in the top menu, and it'll take you to that Now Mobile view of the password reset. So to configure this, you just have to create a smart button that takes you to that URL, and then we just have to associate it to this form screen. Okay, so let's go ahead and do that now. We're going to create a new smart button. The type is going to be URL. This is going to be for password reset. This will be global, just because it's a fixed URL. The URL link is here, and then URL label is going to be password reset. Okay, and then we'll click save. So it automatically knows that it's a relative, so I don't actually have to fill in the entire URL. I just took the appended URL here. So now that I've created the smart button, now I just have to associate it to my form screen. So let's open up my profile form screen. And in the on the functions, underneath overall settings, there's a top menu function here. And this works just like a top menu of a form screen, right? Let's select the smart button that we just created, which is password reset. And then we'll label this password reset. We'll click save, save. So now if I refresh my form screen, or actually refresh this entire app launcher, I should be able to open up the password reset catalog item. Okay. The last thing I want to show, just because we're running out of time, I'm going to create an action function that allows me to update my profile's phone number. So when I go to my profile, how do I give users the ability to update their mobile phone? So to do that, we're going to have to create an action function. So with every action function, we're going to first start off by creating an action item. We'll click create new. We'll call this update mobile phone. The table is going to be sysuser. And then we're going to make sure that use context current record as condition is checkmarked, because this allows you to update the current record that you're in, right? For this one record. If you leave this unchecked, this will update all records across the table. So definitely make sure this is checkmarked. anytime you're doing an update function. Okay, so now I just want to create a parameter for the mobile phone so I can update it. So let's create an item parameter for mobile phone. Type is going to be string. Click submit. And now I have my item parameter from action item. Once you have your action item created, you can now create your action function. Create a new action function. Call this update mobile phone. The context is record. The action item is the one that we just created, which is update mobile phone. And the table is going to be sys user. And then we'll submit. Okay. And with every action item, you're going to need UI parameters. So let's create a new UI parameter here. And UI parameters are basically how those fields will show up and how the end user will fill in that field, right? So if I want the end user to be able to update their mobile phone number, and I'm going to make it a mandatory type field, so they have to fill it in anytime they execute this action. This will be user input as opposed to an autofill. The input type is text. You also have different input types like list. List allows you to, if you have a choice list, it allows you to select as opposed to freeform the text. You also have search lists. So in case you do have tables that are really large, you can the end user can type in fields and it'll populate the list accordingly. You also have QR barcode as well. And we do have app academies on each one of these input types. So definitely check those out if you're unfamiliar. You can actually use this placeholder as instructions on how to fill in the field too. So if you wanted them to follow a certain format, you can do an example and probably a 10-digit code, right, or 10-digit number. So 000 dash 000. So, if that's how you want them to fill it in, that's how you can use your placeholder. The default value type, if they already have a phone number filled in, I can pull from the source field. So the button parent table is going to be from the sys user. The source field is going to be mobile phone. So now when the user tries to update this field, their current phone number will already be populated for them. Okay, so we'll go ahead and submit this. And now my action function is working, right? So now I just have to associate it back to this form screen. So let's open up my profile, top menu functions. We'll call this update mobile phone. And then select the update mobile phone. If I refresh my Apple launcher, I should be able to see that function now. So now the end user can update the mobile phone. Of course, I missed a step. I didn't map my item parameter back to my UI parameter. So in the action parameter mappings, let's create a new field here and map our mobile phone item parameter to our mobile phone UI parameter. Now if I refresh and update mobile phone, see how my current phone number already populates because I filled in the default value type. If I want to change it to 3412, I'm able to do that. And it looks like I put in too many digits, but yeah. So that's a really quick way on how you can give your end users read and write capabilities using action functions. Okay, so that pretty much wraps up everything that I wanted to show today. We didn't have enough time to build out the announcements landing page, but that could be for another time. But this is a great example on how you can extend your workflows. In addition to what we already provide out of the box, this is just a great example of how you can use different tables and build out different landing pages depending on what your different use cases are. So let's go ahead and open up to questions now. If anyone has any questions. Fu, is there any questions that we want to highlight from the audience?
I think we were able to answer all of them through the Q&A. But there was one question from Sashi regarding her. She's getting an error when logging into the Now Mobile app. So I want to get more understanding of what kind of error she's getting. We're going to allow you to talk. Let's see if she's still around. There she is. Hi, Sasha. Are you able to speak? Can you unmute yourself? You're still muted, by the way. Well, we'll get that squared out. We have another question on. Let's see. Would you want to see how the link to out-of-the-box UI pages, not SP, to change? I think the confusion is like, what's the difference between MESP versus the service portal password change? You want to talk about that, David, or do you want me to?
Sure. So, if you use Now Mobile's, table conventions, they built out an entire custom table called MESP, Mobile Employee Service Portal. And they built it so that it best fits your mobile screen. If you simply link it just to Service Portal, the views, depending on how you created those UI pages, it might not fit your screens perfectly. I guess it's kind of a hybrid approach where it uses native buttons, but you're also able to see it in a web view. But if you're just linking random UI pages, it might just be a web view. And web views, they're pinchable, they're scrollable. It doesn't look great if you don't customize it to fit on a native mobile screen. So I guess the simple answer is there is guardrails on how the Now Mobile team built their MESP table. And allows you to easily view any information, any tables, and also execute actions much better than just linking out to a UI page. But we're not saying that you shouldn't just link out to UI page, right? That is also something you can do, but that's just our recommendation, to stick to the MESP table when you can.
Great. So we have two additional questions that are pretty easy. So Robert asks, are you using a emulator or how are you mirroring your phone screen on the left?
Oh, yes. So I'm not using an emulator. I'm just using QuickTime, and I'm displaying my my phone through it. So we don't officially support any emulators, but we've heard of other customers use emulators from third parties. Fu, if you want to share, what that emulator is.
Yeah. So basically, QuickTime is a default feature from Apple. So if you're on a Windows, you can probably use some sort of other emulator. So there's one that we've heard from customers called P-Cloudy. I think there's a cost associated with it, but I'm sure there's I'm sure if you're on a Windows, you can probably use like an Android emulator. I've seen those for free, maybe. But yeah, we're using QuickTime. So another question is from Troy, which is specific to Mac. Is there going to be a way to test mobile experience using a web browser? Currently, so our application is all natively built. So it's better to use, if you're using I don't know this is a Mac feature, but if you're using Xcode, you can probably launch the simulator. But from a web browser, you won't be able to get that. Unfortunately, you have to use some sort of emulator. The other question is, should we move to catalog item password change pages via out of the box? I think that's a good practice. Is if you're gonna mimic any mobile experiences, you should start using the MESP version of it. Like David said, it's not just it's customized, it's optimized for a mobile experience. The other one is Miracast. Okay, thank you, Colleen. Miracast seems to be the default for Windows. That's another emulator. Try that out. Any document for design principle on mobile for ServiceNow apps. So Dave, you want to talk about the best practices or design principles?
Yes. So if you go to mobile community and you look at our featured content, we actually have a best practices doc here at the very bottom. So if you open that up, there's a PDF. Definitely check this out. Again, this is just our first iteration. Feel free to share feedback. If there's anything else that you'd like to know or learn more about, use the comment section and let us know. Mobile community is a great place to share feedback with us. And all of our product teams are constantly on this. And this is how we kind of come up with topics for Mobile App Academy as well. So definitely let us know on mobile community.
And with that, I think that's all the questions we had.
Alrighty, looks like that's pretty much all the questions. So, thank you everyone for joining us today. I kind of did speed through this session just because there is a lot to cover. But I still hope that this session you found informative and helpful. If you have any further questions, feel free to keep posting on mobile community so that we can explore other different configurations and future mobile app academies. We're gonna have another session in 2 weeks, and we're gonna show the Safe Workplace contact tracing mobile app. That's a new mobile app we released a few weeks ago. So make sure you follow our mobile community site for the latest dates and information. Thank you everyone for joining today's session, and I hope to see you at the next Mobile App Academy. Cheers, everyone.
Thank you.